The term no contest seems as though it won't be in the sex vocabulary this season, and the days of rescheduling games are in the rearview mirror. A year removed from an adjusted and abbreviated football schedule due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the SEC does not have safeguards in place to navigate potential in-season disruptions due to the disease. Meaning, if a team has an outbreak or sees its roster significantly impacted due to health and safety protocols, it may be forced to forfeit games this fall. Let's just indicate like the realities we deal with, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said Monday at the start of SEC Media Days in Hoover. You hope not to have disruption, but hope is not a plan is the great cliche. You're expected to play as scheduled. That means your team needs to be healthy to compete, and if not, that game won't be rescheduled. And thus, to dispose of the game, the forfeit word comes up at this point. The SEC still has in place roster minimums that were enacted last season to ensure teams had the requisite number of available players each week. Those guidelines included at least 53 available scholarship athletes, including at least 7 offensive linemen, one of which must be a center, 1 quarterback and 4 defensive backs. Teams were still able to play with fewer than the minimum, or with fewer at those aforementioned positions, but if they fell below those thresholds, the options of rescheduling that week's game or declaring a no contest were both on the table. The league rescheduled multiple games during the 2020 season and even cancelled Vanderbilt's game at Georgia due to COVID-19 protocols. Sankey said Monday that he has proposed to the league's 14 schools lifting those roster minimums this season, though nothing has been decided on that front. With a full 12-game season, including nonconference games, set to begin Labor Day weekend, there aren't any built-in open dates, or a 1-week buffer between the end of the regular season and the SEC title game, for teams to potentially reschedule games. That brings into play the possibility for forfeitures if teams are unable to field enough healthy players to compete in a given week. That's not a policy, and what you see are the bookends now for decision-making, Sankey said. We've not built in the kind of time we did last year, particularly at the end of the season, to accommodate disruption. And unless we're going to do that, our teams are going to have to be fully prepared to play their season as scheduled, which is why embedded in my remarks is the vaccination motivation. Sankey reiterated the conference's campaign to advocate for vaccinations, not just among teams, but among fanbases within its footprint as the most surefire way to ensure a close enough to normal season this fall.